Hey everyone, it's Mr. Keys, and in this video we're going to learn about one of the most important scales in all of music, the major scale. Let's go over some important terminology so that we have a good understanding of how this all works. A scale defines a key, much like an alphabet defines a language. The major scale is always a collection of 7 distinct notes. Each major scale has an A, a B, a C, a D, an E, an F, and a G in it. Just not necessarily in that order. This means it's impossible for a major scale to have a B and a B flat in the same scale. We'll look into this more as we continue through this tutorial. There are 12 different major keys, and thus 12 different major scales, one for each of the 12 notes of a piano. C major, there's C sharp or D flat major, there's D major, there's E flat major, E major, F major, F sharp or G flat major, G major, A flat major, A major, B flat major, and finally B or C flat major. You may be wondering why I gave 2 options for some of the notes and only 1 for others. Well, we know that C sharp and D flat are enharmonically equivalent, but so are G sharp and A flat. So why is there C sharp and D flat major, but not G sharp and A flat major, or even A sharp and B flat major? Be patient, this will be explained in the coming videos. Let's look at the most basic major scale, C major. Each major scale begins on the note it is named after, in this case, C. C major includes the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Typically, when writing a scale, the finishing note is also included an octave above the starting note. Octave, which has the prefix oct, means a series of 8 notes. We can see this when we count from C to C. Well, there are 8 notes. The high C is just a duplicate of the first note. We call the first note of a major scale the tonic. Each of the 7 notes of the major scale has a fancy name that relates to its function or position in the scale. But I may use the word tonic at times when I'm referring to the first note of the scale. Here are the others: supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, and leading note. Now let's take a look at a pattern that each note of a major scale follows in regards to the distances between notes. The distance between the first note, C, and the second note, D, is a tone. D to E is a tone. E to F is a semitone. F to G is a tone. G to A is a tone. A to B is a tone. And lastly, B to C is a semitone. Thus, we get the pattern tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. This works for all major scales. Let's try it with another scale. For F major, we start on F and write out all notes until we reach F, an octave above. Now we need to check to see if the distances between all of the notes forms the tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone pattern we previously discussed. F to G is a tone. And we can see on the keyboard below that there is a note in between F and G. G to A is a tone. A to B is a tone. But we need a semitone here. This means we have to modify the B so that we obtain a semitone. If we flatten the B by making it B flat, we get a semitone now. Please note that we cannot change the B to an A sharp because, as previously stated, each scale must contain each letter only once, and we would end up with A and A sharp in the same scale, which is not good. B flat to C is a tone. C to D is a tone. D to E is a tone. And finally, E to F is a semitone. There. Now we have notes that form the major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. We can categorize F major by saying it has all natural notes except for B flat. Another way we can identify F major is by saying it contains one flat, which is B flat. Let's try this with another scale. Let's look at F sharp major. Start on F sharp and add notes from F sharp until F sharp, an octave above. All other notes should not have any sharps or flats except for the starting note, since we're in the key of F sharp. Once again, we need to check to see if the distances between notes follows the tone-tone semitone, tone-tone-tone semitone pattern. F sharp to G is a semitone. So let's make the G into a G sharp. Now we have a tone. G sharp to A is a semitone, so we'll make the A into A sharp. A sharp to B is a semitone, and that's exactly what we want. B to C is a semitone, so we'll make the C into C sharp. C sharp to D is a semitone, so we'll make the D into D sharp. D sharp to E is a semitone, so we'll change the E to E sharp. E sharp to F sharp is a semitone, and that's exactly what we want. We can categorize the scale by saying it has 6 sharps: F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, C sharp, D sharp, and E sharp. Now, something to note is that we used E sharp. Isn't E sharp the same thing as F? Well, remember at the beginning of this video, I had mentioned that major scales must use each letter of the alphabet only once. If we use F and F sharp, we'd be using F twice and we'd be missing an E. This seems like a really awkward way to be able to identify the notes in a scale quickly, and it is. But it's an easy way for us to be able to see the pattern used to create a major scale. We will be looking at a better method, and I will be explaining, finally, why we can have C sharp major and D flat major as enharmonically equivalent scales, but not G sharp major and A flat major.